Welcome back to the Line Podcast. My name is Aaron Alexander. This is a place that we bring together the world's leading experts in all things health and wellness to help you optimize your mind, body, and movement. This conversation was one of the most vulnerable, most different episodes that I've done. This was with my mother. So I've been out in Pennsylvania, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, visiting the family for the last week. And while I was here, I've been doing a lot of, I would say, digging, uncovering into kind of childhood patterns that I think I've been holding on to for years and years. And a big part of that was exploring my relationship with my parents. So a part of the way that I did that while I was here was interviewing my mom without any intention of actually releasing the conversation. So this would be an interesting exercise for people, even if you don't host a podcast or something of the sort. You're not a journalist. You could still host an interview with someone that you really care about. I think doing it with your parents is a really beautiful idea because for me, at least, I feel like my relationship with my parents in many ways has been kind of more mother, father, son, as opposed to human. And I'm really interested personally in getting to know both my mom, my dad, and my brother and relatives as for who they are, as opposed to my idea of their roles. And so this was an interesting opportunity to get to explore. And so my mom and I had been having a lot of kind of like deep conversations around death and fears and things of the sort. And, I think for anybody, for me, I really want my parents to be in a place that they feel at ease and they feel at peace and they feel content and calm and loved and anchored and they're not afraid of anything. So that was kind of what we got into in this conversation, was digging into some patterns that I have and patterns that my mother has. And those patterns came from probably her mother and her father, and those patterns all the way back through the chain. And so I think it's a beautiful opportunity, if we so choose it, to be the ones to drop the ancestral shit. I think if you grow up with your parents, I don't think you learn so much about what they do. You learn more who they are and the subconscious operating systems that govern them. I think inevitably they just continue on down the chain. And so it's almost like you're passing the buck off from yourself to your children, whether you realize it or not. And then your kids, they have the baton and they run the race and they do with it what they can, and then they pass it on to the next. And I think that we have the opportunity to unwind the knots that have been imposed upon us from our parents while we're running with the baton. And if we can do that, then I think it could liberate not only us, but also our parents and grandparents and our children and children's children. So in this moment, in this lifetime, I think it's actually a pretty darn courageous thing to be willing to be the person that doesn't just keep passing the buck off and actually does whatever the work, in quotations, looks like to drop the weight of your past. And so that is what this conversation is about. We're going in and finding, is there any weights that we're carrying, Mother and Aaron? And if there are, how the hell do we drop them right the fuck now? So I don't think we dropped all of them, but I think we did lighten up quite a bit after this conversation. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm not going to do any ad reads or anything, at least for the introduction, because it just would feel weird for this specific conversation. Tune in for the end. I am going to put some of my mom's music. She is a absolutely stunning singer and songwriter. And so we get into a little bit in this conversation of her process of all that. And she is really one of the most talented singers and songwriters that I know, honestly. And she happens to be my mom. So I'm attached some of her music at the end. So if you're interested in hearing my mama, doing her singing. I hope you really enjoy it. And if you do, por favor, send us a message on Align Podcast on the Instagram. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Per usual, appreciate reviews and all the things. I hope you guys dig this conversation. Like I said, I wasn't planning on releasing it. That was never the intention. And then afterwards, my mother and I both agreed that perhaps it may be helpful for some people. So here it is. I hope you enjoy a pretty radically vulnerable conversation between me and my mother. What do you want to leave for Austin and I? Like, not materially.
Well, Austin and I have had a similar discussion in years past, and he told me that he felt that I really created a world for both you and your brother where you wouldn't feel some of the negativity that was going on, you know, in the home. I really tried hard to be strong, to cover up. Mm-hmm. And I know that sometimes I would break down and cry in front of you guys, but I tried not to. And I feel that I taught my sons to be forgiving because I'm very forgiving of people. And so I would feel that I want my sons to be forgiving towards others that are maybe not as blessed as they are, and maybe they are ignorant, and so maybe they say some things that are just, you know, not right, unfair, judgmental.
So something is, you're saying that something that I feel like I've had challenge with, or just hasn't come very easy for me, is like emotional intimacy and feeling like, I think, safe to express myself in a vulnerable way. And I never talked to you or Dad about like girls growing up. I was always very
right.
I just wouldn't mention anything about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to uncover why that was, and I think my feeling is perhaps it may have something to do with what you're saying now, part of holding emotions in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because you asked me what legacy I want to leave, and I want my children to be forgiving. But there's so many things that I want for you guys.
Not the forgiving, the meaningful part. The part of
covering
holding
up.
emotions in and
covering up, trying to make a beautiful world, trying to make you happy, even though there was pain. So it ends up becoming kind of, I think there's been like a theme of like the Jesus martyr type thing and living a life in pain, and absolutely.
But I don't think that's healthy, and I don't think that's and so I feel like a part. I thought the reason that I kind of had issues with that was like fear of abandonment because of Dad, but I think in fact it was more my relationship to you, and which I don't know for sure, but I have a feeling that it's actually more in relation to my relationship with you. I mean, you're my mom, so my relationship to women probably like relates back to you.
I was with you all the time.
And so, not because you're with me all the time, because you're my mom. And so, I think perhaps your inhibition to feel like you could honestly express, I think subconsciously I carry that, and I'm now in the process of learning how to be emotionally vulnerable, 30 years later.
Makes perfect sense. And what you're saying makes perfect sense to me, actually. I never thought of it that way, but that has to be it.
I think so.
Because I was taught to be reserved, to suppress. Like if I was angry, like I wouldn't express it. I was more controlled. And I would think if someone would do something that out of anger, I would look down upon them like, oh, they can't control their emotions. Mm-hmm. They're so out of control. Yeah,
but that out of control, in fact, is the release of something that could be, the very disease that it seems like you've expressed previously, that you have like fear of disease and fear of like something developed. But I think like the purging of emotional stress and all those internalizations of things.
I don't have fear of disease. I don't want to be injured.
Okay, well,
there's a difference.
Well, I mean, disease,
I feel very healthy. I eat all organic.
The literal sense of the word of dis-ease, like you don't feel at ease.
Like
and
everything.
So I think the building up of toxic shit inside the body in the form of, emotional thoughts, fears, grudges, anything that could be perceived as like inappropriate or ugly. I think that if we don't express those out, then they build up and they consume us and they become dis-ease.
But I can become angry. It's just, I just don't allow myself to get out of control with it.
Do you think that there could be any value in having what are you angry about?
Right now?
Yeah, is there anything that you feel like there's maybe there isn't?
I don't get angry too much. In fact, your father used to say, "How do you do that? You wake up in the morning happy. You're singing in the kitchen. How do you do that when there's so many bad things going on in our life right now?" Be like, well...
Do you think some of that could have been just repression and bypassing and avoidance?
No, I think I had joy in my spiritual walk at the time with my God. I felt that I was very much in love with God. I felt that He loved me and He was protecting me, and I had some spiritual experiences that were so beautiful and so profound that I never forgot them. And I felt like I wanted everything to be beautiful. I think that's why I absolutely abhor chemicals and pesticides and things that are not natural. I think it's because I want things to be healthy and well. Like, I was thinking the other day, I'm getting so much joy out of these plants that I'm growing. I'm seeing them thriving and feeling their energy and giving them nutrients. For some reason, it just totally fulfills me to nurture something.
Yeah, I get that. You're a mother.
I mean, even a plant. I get like a kick out of it.
Do you think that perhaps there could be any value for both of us in one of us beginning to feel more comfortable with emotional intimacy and not holding on to stuff or feeling like it's inappropriate to feel a certain way? I don't think that there's any emotions or sensations or feelings that are inappropriate. I think everything is perfectly appropriate. Like, if you feel a thing, it's completely okay. And I wonder...
You do?
I really do,
So
yeah.
you feel like your thought life can go anywhere and it's okay?
Yeah. I think that by...
See, I disagree.
So by putting a moralistic judgment of bad, good on it, I think that it doesn't stop a thought. It's like saying whatever, the obvious thing, don't think about an elephant or whatever. So I say, don't think about those thoughts. I think I'm actually feeding energy into them. Whereas if I just allow them to pass and move like a cloud, then I don't inflate those clouds. They just move on.
I understand.
And so...
Yeah, that makes sense. However, I see you as this very, very genuinely pure and good man. I see you as a person that has a beautiful soul, a very nurturing soul yourself. I feel that you love home, and I feel that it's very important to you to be loved. And I feel your emotions run so deep that sometimes it's hard for you to even express them.
Well, and there's also, I think a thick layer between my superficial world and... You want me to sit up on the couch?
Yeah, because I'm trying to make eye contact with you. And
here, what do we go like this?
No, I don't want to look down at you. I want to look.
Why? I like laying down. It's nice. You want me to lay on the couch?
I'm going to be looking straight ahead because
that's fine. Here, I'll lay on the couch.
That's better.
This is great. You're like my therapist.
I'm your therapist.
I appreciate it.
I'm your mommy.
Teddy bear for comfort.
That's amazing. That teddy bear was yours when you were born.
Yeah. Well, so I feel like what I've experienced, and I very greatly appreciate you being here still in my life, because people's parents die out of this body and they don't have the opportunity to get to like have these conversations. So I really like when I look at you, I know that you're not going to be here forever. And I really hope that you're okay with that. Like
Sure.
I don't want you to have any fear to move out of this body. And I don't want you to have any fear to like be old and all that stuff. Like the feeling of like, think of like a tree, if a tree goes into fall and the leaves turn red or orange or whatever and they fall off and
Like they are right now in our yard.
yeah, like they are right now. Like you can look at that, like the wise you can look at that and be like, oh, this is beautiful. Like this is such a beautiful experience. The trees they're going through their cycle and they're going back into the ground and they're fertilizing and it's like a part of this really beautiful circle of life.
Mm-hmm.
And
I can grasp that.
yeah. And so I really hope like something that I would make me feel happy, and I feel myself like crying as I'm saying it, or like teary because I don't want you to hurt.
It's okay. You can express anything to me, Aaron. I love you.
I love you.
I love you so dearly.
It's very nice to cry in front of you.
I know you've seen me cry. But I haven't been able to cry for a long time, really.
You just haven't felt safe to cry. It's not that you haven't been able to. You haven't felt safe to.
I know, but sometimes silence just speaks volumes.
Yeah. And it's okay to cry.
Oh.
What?
It's so beautiful. So beautiful. You're so beautiful.
Thank you. You're beautiful.
I'm so proud of the man you've become.
What have I become?
A very caring and wise grown-up man. Not just in stature, but in your soul, in your spirit. I mean, you've exceeded my dreams. And your brother too. You both are very fine and good young men. And I feel very, very privileged to be your mother.
I know you do. I feel privileged for
I
your
feel
son.
honored. I feel honored that this beautiful creation was given to me. And your brother too. Even though he's not here tonight.
I think I probably chose you. I'd imagine. So that's something that like weighs on me is the feeling of you being, feeling like scared or feeling alone or feeling, I think just that.
Well, I'll try very hard to not let that happen to me, but only God knows if I'll ever meet someone else.
Well, I don't even mean in relation to another person. I think alone starts with you. And I think that love starts with you, and the idea of love through another person, like another person they can be a stimulus to open up the love that you've had all along. Mm-hmm. But it's not, I don't think it's about another person. I think that, as we fill ourselves up through other people and through just life in general, it could be through anything, through a puppy or business or a trip or cooking or whatever the thing is. Mm-hmm. Everything's like a tool to open ourselves up to what we actually are, which I think is just a bunch of love. And as we open
Yeah.
ourselves up to that, I think that naturally brings the people into our lives that matches that frequency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, I feel like we are very much a part of our atmosphere, and I feel like we are able to express love if we are thoroughly good inside. But if a
Yeah.
person has evil intentions, then it manifests eventually, and it invites more evil intentions. It grows. So
Sure, everything grows.
so I feel like in the same way that love and purity and goodness and beauty and creativity and artistic energies also can develop and multiply
Mm-hmm.
and can be very healing, not only to yourself, but to everyone that you actually touch in your life. That's why I'm writing music. That's why I love to express myself. I feel like I'm soaring like an eagle when I'm singing. And I realize that I've always had that gift. Like I did my first solo when I was only 3 years old. But it's just exhilarating, to be able to be artistic. And it's exhilarating to be able to dance and move and practice, movement with your body, which I do every morning.
Mm-hmm.
I have a ritual, and that's very, very important to me.
What do you think you need to get to a point of not having any reservation or fear around aging and dying?
I'm not really afraid to die. It's just the quality of life
Mm-hmm.
is so important. Every day. I realize that. I was walking, every day around this lovely neighborhood. It was quiet. There's no traffic. And I'd go early in the morning. It would be very beautiful. I could meditate. I could pray. Sometimes I sing. I don't really care if the neighbors hear me or see me or whatever.
Yeah.
Because they're all loving and kind and accepting of me. So they all like, oh, hi, how are you? So I just relax and do my thing, or I'll ride my bike or something like that. And I don't mind doing that, but I feel like it's important that we give in, to that type of...
Yeah, release.
Yeah, it's important. But anyway,
That's great.
you're smiling at me, right?
I think it's great.
What are you thinking?
I think that's great. That's something that I've been worried about for you, because you've been so superficially pretty throughout your life, which I think can be a real handicap. It can really set you up for hurt, because like that can be taken away. It's like basing
Yeah.
your value around money. It's like it's a really bad idea.
It's really hard though, because when you are a young woman and you are winning a lot of contests, one after the other, and then eventually you start to feel like your value is based on your beauty, and
Do you still feel that way?
I do. I do.
I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah.
Do you feel like...
I mean, it's hard to be a former Miss Pennsylvania, a national talent winner, and 3-time swimsuit winner, and runner-up to Miss America, and be aging.
Yeah, I think those are all handicaps. Those are all just making your game harder.
Yeah. Here's the thing. It isn't me. It's those around me that'll say, oh, I remember. Yeah, I remember you when you did this or that.
No, it is you.
Oh, you were so beautiful.
No,
and then
it is you.
But then they kind of give you the once-over. They're like looking you over to see if you're still holding up.
Yeah, but it's still you. Like, there's no reason to dish off your own autonomy and power. Serious. It's not them. Like
No, but it's their expectation.
It's your
No, but I'm a people pleaser.
Of their expectation.
Remember?
Yes, you. It's
Okay,
you.
I'm a
you.
people. So I guess it is me.
Yes, has nothing to do with them. They're just trees. They're like, if a bird.
C'est moi, 'tis I. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with them. Like, you are the powerful one. You are the creator of all of this. of everything, good, bad, me, this house, dad, like all of that is you created. You're responsible.
It's true, because I enabled him. I allowed him to do it without...
You brought him into your life. You created him. He's your creation. This is a great feeling. Because for every time that you put your energy out into someone else and say, oh, well, you see, they did this to me because they looked at me this way, and then they had expectations, and then, well, your dad did this to me because of this and that, and, I had, like, every time you do that, it takes a part of your power, like if it was like a pie chart, and it takes a sliver out of that, and sometimes it's a big sliver, sometimes it's a smaller sliver, and every time you do that, you throw a sliver out of your own power. And every time you take it back and you take responsibility for, you can look at me, you can do anything, you can cut my hand off, whatever you do, you don't have power over me. Like my reaction to this experience.
I totally identify with what you're saying, because the whole time your father was so addicted to drugs. I never felt like I was truly unhappy inside. I felt like he had this handicap, like I didn't, do you understand what I'm saying? I still felt good about me, even though he was verbally abusive during that time, and it was very difficult.
Why do you think you kept him around? Why would you tolerate that in your life?
I kept remembering the wonderful years, the happy years. I kept remembering how beautiful it was when we fell in love and lived in the Caribbean together and swam in the coral reefs together. And
yeah, but the reality of the situation, that wasn't it.
And having children and...
Yeah, but that wasn't it. Why do you think you kept an abusive person in your life? Why did you create that?
He was a beautiful man in many, many ways, and I kept remembering that beautiful man.
Yeah, but he wasn't that for years. Like, what was it about that served you? What was it about that was supportive to you?
The hope that he would go back to being the person that he once was. And now he has recovered, and now he is that good person again, but we're no longer together.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that.
Yeah. So I was hoping, and I was in prayer that he would go back to the way he was.
Yeah.
Plus, I have such a good memory. I've been blessed with such a good memory. I can remember even way back, even when I was still like in my crib.
Why do you think it is that you? I mean, we've already talked about it, I guess, but you have exhibited a tendency of making everything kind of like putting like a nice patch over everything, and you kind of have this ongoing way of, if something seems like it's maybe not quite appropriate or anything like that, you'll and in like relation to emotions and all the things, you'll try to nice it up, and not actually just like let it be. Like I personally, something that the moments that I appreciate with you the most are when you're just like genuinely authentic with how you're feeling, and there's no avoidance or no, the carrots are so nutritious, taking the conversation someplace else, and you're just like being like, man, I feel afraid, or I feel sad, or I feel angry, or I feel happy, I feel elated, I feel, whatever, but like all of those emotions are equally valuable and important. Mm-hmm. And I feel like at some point in your life, it feels to me like you learned that there's some emotions that are okay to express, and other emotions that are kind of like rude or inappropriate.
Yeah, that's how I was raised.
Yeah. And do you feel like that's the healthiest way?
I feel it's unusual. I feel that a lot of people are not familiar with that type of a childhood. Mm-hmm. That, your grandmother was very much she was more strict, and she was very much that, you cover up the things in your life that are bad. Mm-hmm. And you always, show a good face towards the public. You don't air your dirty laundry, you.
Yeah.
It's just, And probably her mother was like that too. But they were fine people. They were wonderful people.
But can you imagine what would happen to that dirty laundry if it doesn't get air?
You're right.
It would probably get moldy and grow and have a life of its own.
Yeah, that's true. I feel that I'm not as bad as the generations before me. I feel that I'm improving, and I feel that you probably and your brother have helped me to really loosen up a little bit more.
Well, I'm a continuation of you, Mom. I really feel like upon you, my liberation is your liberation, and your liberation is my liberation.
But you know that I'm passionate about a lot of things. And you know that I can express myself musically. I can express myself artistically.
And I think that some of those are I like applaud all of them. I think they're all great. And I think it's great that you can transmute certain other energies into, you know, beautiful music and songs and, you know, that's awesome. And taking care of a beautiful family and
some of my songs are just fun and funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
And some of them are just
so I think lighthearted. I think that you have consciously or subconsciously channeled what could have been, you know, I think pain and tears and, you know, all the things that happen throughout life into music, which is, I think, very common and very beautiful.
Yeah, and some of the songs I write are, you know, jazz songs, and some of them are spiritual songs, and some of them are show tunes and country tunes and blues and gospel. Just, I'm like a music junkie, so I love music. I'm always hearing music, and if I'm around reggae music, then I think, oh, I could write a reggae song, and then I'll write a reggae song. And then,
no, I know. It's
like
it's
Austin
brilliant.
said, I can't believe you can write reggae. And he said, sing it for me. So I started singing my reggae song for him. He's like, wow, you really can write reggae.
Do you want to sing the reggae song?
No.
No? Why?
Sometime I will, but I don't have it in front of me. I don't memorize all my music.
All right.
But, yeah, I love to sing. But anyway.
What is your process in writing music?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's magical. It happens early in the morning usually. And usually while I'm sleeping, I'll awaken with the song. And I'll go to the piano, which is just directly behind my bed. If you look at that, it's separated by a wall. The mirror, the wall, my bed's on the other side, and there's the piano. And I go to that baby grand over there, and I just put that music down and start singing it. That's how it happens.
You write
the
it?
The lyrics
there?
and the music come simultaneously. No, I start writing it while I'm sleeping, usually. Not always. Sometimes it'll happen in the shower.
That's so cool.
The shower really relaxes me, and I can really write there. And if I get a lyric, I'll quickly jump out of the shower, write it down. Like, I'll keep a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil in the bathroom. And, you know, I'll open up that cabinet and get it out quick and jot it down.
Why do you write songs?
I didn't know I could until about, a few years back when I was teaching school. The kids were all finished with their test one afternoon, and I was just sitting at my desk, and I just started writing a beautiful wedding song. Yeah, it just came to me.
Do you feel like it's like therapeutic for you?
Oh, absolutely. It's really good.
Do you feel misunderstood by Austin and I at all?
No, I feel like you guys just love me. No matter what, you love me for who I am, and you have no reason not to. I don't feel that I've ever given you a reason not to love me.
Yeah, I would agree. I love you very much.
I really, really feel that. I feel you are capable of really giving committed love.
Certainly. I think this year has been like a major, in process of, I think, somewhat of like a pretty major transition and like coming into myself.
Yeah. Wonderful. I can see that.
Mm-hmm. Like I felt kind of like pretty like perhaps like out of place or kind of just like I don't really fully, maybe not really belong, but just not really like, just didn't feel comfortable in my position in the world, or like in my skin, or like in, just felt kind of squirmy in here. And presently,
Yeah.
I've felt.
I know that feeling.
What do you know about that feeling?
Oh. I've known it since I'm a little girl.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What's it like?
You feel like you're different, maybe, than other people, and you try to fit in. I think all kids kind of go through that in some way, but some more than others. Definitely.
Have you felt that through?
I felt that way when I was a child, like I was different.
Do you still have any sensations like that, or when did that transition?
It was a good different, though. It was like, it was a good feeling. It wasn't always bad, but it isolated me in myself. Even though I had a lot of friends in school, and I loved to go to school every day, I looked forward to it. I was very active, and I played the violin, played first chair violin all the way through school into college. I accompanied piano, for the chorus and the glee club. I sang solos all the time. I sang at church. Loved going to church. Loved the music department of the church. Took voice lessons, piano lessons, art lessons. I was winning a lot of contests and art contests too.
Wow.
So I felt like I was a little different than some of the other children because they were more into just not being quite as competitive maybe. I was always trying to make good grades, and I did. Not always. I mean, I got an occasional C, but for the most part, I was striving to make that A. I mean, even to get into the Miss America pageant, you really have to have, because it's a scholarship program. It's not like Miss USA. You have to have an A minus, or at least a B plus average, or they don't even consider you.
Something that I hear from you a lot, and if you listen back to this, you'll probably hear as well, is a tendency of kind of pointing out that you like have many accolades, and you're very smart, and you're this, and like you will like go out of your way to say those things, and sometimes I'm
just telling you, I felt it made me feel kind of isolated though as a kid. I'm not saying it. I'm not trying to be braggadocious.
No. I don't think I'm not saying you're braggadocious.
It's not that.
Hold on, listen. I'm not saying you're braggadocious and like, oh, Mom, you're such a bragger. I'm saying more of like, I wonder if perhaps, and maybe there's nothing to it at all, but I wonder if perhaps that could be, there's some like underlying layer of feeling like that you need to be really good at stuff, or really smart, or really pretty, or really good at math or music or whatever it is, like in order to be loved.
Absolutely, that's correct.
Where do you think you got that from?
I'm not sure, but it may have been the fact that my mother was an equestrian, and she used to jump 5-gated horses, and she was very competitive with horses, and she was very sports-minded. Like, she played field hockey in school. She was strong and athletic, and I always wanted to be like my mother, be strong, be athletic like she was. She was really quite a lady. And so it's interesting because one of my brothers became the United States Eastern tennis champion. He was very competitive like that too. And he and I got along really, really well. He's no longer with us.
But do you think that you are... So what you did in your response there is you kind of added on to like how your family stock is like really good at life, which kind of, again, like adds on to like how things are great. I wonder
I'm just saying I wanted to be like my mother.
But it's not so much what someone does, it's who they are. So it's not so much that your mom did those things. She could do anything. But instilling in the person that they need to do in order to be worthy of love. That's different than being successful with riding a horse. So I wonder if like there was some, like where that came from, like that I need to get good grades and be hot and be, all of these different things in order to be worthy of love, as opposed to being at my root level worthy of love with nothing. I could be in a wheelchair, I could be, have no face, I could be whatever, and I'm still worthy of love. Like getting to that point is freedom.
That's true.
So I wonder what do you think the origin of that is? Not that your mom was good at life. What's the origin of who was she beyond her actions that instilled that, if it was from your mom? Do you think that she had that patterning as well from her parents?
I do.
Do you know what her parents were like?
I knew them.
Yeah.
I knew my grandmother, not my grandfather, but I knew a lot about them. They were art. My grandmother was an artist. She was a registered nurse. Several of her brothers had the Doctors of Divinity from Pittsburgh University. They studied, and they were very hardworking, very, very strong religious Christian family from English, Irish, German stock. They were. I mean, I know I can go back many generations, all the way back to the 1600s. I followed the genealogy, and there were many writers and pastors and creative people, and I think that's where you get all your creativity. And your father too
Mom,
is.
You're kind of.
Your father too is also very creative.
Do you hear yourself? I'm not attacking you in saying this, but do you hear yourself kind of bypassing the question? You keep going back to, this is why we're great, i.e., like we're lovable. So I'm asking the question of like, where's the root come from? I need to do shit in order to be worthy of love, and you keep going back into, well, we were really great at writing, and we were really great at this, and we were really great. All of those are just more of the same thing.
That's from your grandmother's side of the family, okay? But on my mother's side of the family, but on your father's side of the family, they came from Kos, Greece, right off the Aegean island there, and so they were very loving people, musical people, hardworking people. They were different. They were totally different than my mom's family, because my mom's family came originally from Mennonite stock. I say stock because it's just good word.
What do you think it would take for you to get to a point where you don't feel like you need to do anything in order to be worthy of love, or do you feel like you're already there?
No, I still strive to be nurturing and pleasing, and I still strive to show my love. But it comes naturally. I mean, it's not like I'm really, really working hard at it, but it feels like it's a must, that's natural for me. I'm comfortable doing that. I'm comfortable being a little competitive.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
Sometimes I wish, I wouldn't put such a priority on it.
Why?
It's a lot of pressure.
From who?
Well, the pressure comes from within.
And you wish that you could release that pressure?
Yeah, sure. Sometimes you just think, oh, well, why should I care so much?
Do you actually wish that you could release that pressure?
Sometimes. Sometimes I just shut things down, like...
Who is stopping you from releasing that pressure?
Well, no one's stopping me.
Someone is.
I suppose I'll have to work on that.
No, you don't have to work on it. It's up to you. You're the captain. This is your life. You don't need to do anything. You're not supposed to do anything, and you shouldn't do anything. Like, it's whatever the fuck you want. It really is totally... You could get tattoos on your face. Like, this is your painting. It's your experience. But if you do wish this, the only person that's stopping you from granting you your own wish Like there's only one person that is.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting thing that, like, I wonder, like, what those things, if they are, like, they're obviously, like, tools that are, you know, that you don't want to put down, or maybe you don't feel safe to put them down, or, like, what would happen if I put them down? You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm getting a little bit kind of blurry with my description, but...
No. I just don't know if I have the capacity to put them down.
Why?
Probably because they've been with me so long now.
And what would happen if you put them down?
I don't know.
Would it be scary? Would it be dangerous? Would you die?
No, I wouldn't die.
Fail? Would you feel at ease? Would your shoulders relax? Would you smile? Would you feel light? Like, what would happen?
I do feel pretty at ease, and I do feel pretty light. I feel pretty happy most of the time.
Yeah. I think you're going great. I'm only these.
Really?
Yeah, I really do.
You talk to a lot of people, so that's encouraging.
I think you and I both still have a lot of weight that we carry, and I'd like to be liberated.
I know I do, but I feel pretty lighthearted and happy most of the time.
You're super lighthearted and happy most
of the time. Most of the time, I feel like dancing.
Yeah, you're like a fairy. You're great.
A fairy.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's lovely.
Aw. Thank you, sweetie.
You're welcome. I'm excited for angels fly because they take themselves lightly is a quote that I've heard that I think is really interesting. And I feel like you have even greater potential to fly upon even, you know, taking this life and yourself and accomplishments and success and all that even lighter. Like, I feel like there's still weights that you unknowingly choose to carry, and it feels to me like there's the potential for you to put them down. And I feel like you really can.
Well, I just thought of something when you talked about flying. I dream sometimes that I'm flying. And when I was young, my father was an interpreter of dreams, being an old Greek. He was really good at interpreting dreams, and people would come to him and ask him what dreams meant, and he was quite good at it. Actually, when I would dream I would fly, it would mean usually that something really wonderful was coming into my life. So when I dream that I'm flying, I'm very happy. And I know other family members that fly in their sleep. Have you ever done it?
Yeah.
Wow. Tell me about it. When did you do that? When did you dream that you were flying?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's happened.
How high do you go?
I don't remember the last time I've had a flying dream, actually. But I know that I've had them. I think more when I was younger.
When you were younger. More. Okay. Well, yeah. Do you soar really high, or do you just go up? Like, sometimes I'm soaring pretty high, and most of the time I'm not soaring real high. Maybe 40 feet in the air, maybe a little higher than that.
How often do you have these dreams?
Not that often. If it happens, it's very exciting to me, like, oh, wow.
What are your dreams usually like? Do you have, like, recurrent dreams?
I dream a lot.
What do you dream about? What did you dream about last night?
Last night I had a dream that I was talking about my childhood. I was just talking about my childhood.
What were you saying?
Some of the things that we're saying right now.
Really?
Yeah, I remembered as we were speaking. I thought, that's odd. I didn't know that you wanted to just talk to me and record it tonight after dinner. Hey, Mama, I'd like to record you.
I find it very... This is probably one of the most important trips of my life in a lot of ways, because I think that...
It's wonderful to hear. I'm totally loving it, but I did have a dream about it. A few months ago, before I knew you were coming home, I had a dream that we were together, and I was just lying next to you, and we were looking at each other, and I just felt so connected to you. I felt so much utter, complete love from you. And you felt it from me, and I thought, this is so beautiful. And I woke up feeling really, really good about my love for you and your love for me. And I feel like, wow, wouldn't that be wonderful? But, you were 3,000 miles away and the pandemic was going on. It's still going on. So it's great that you're here.
I feel like crying again.
Oh.
I feel like it's completely fine because everything, is perfectly as it is. I think it's interesting that I feel like I haven't really known you through my life, and I felt like I kind of didn't know how to know you.
That hurts me a little bit because I always tried to be close, to my children.
Well, I think that perhaps the signals were crossed in a way at a young age, because I think perhaps you, and this could be incorrect, I'm just toying with this, but I think perhaps me learning through your subconscious patterns that it's not okay to show everything, I think perhaps switched me in a way to not be able to penetrate to
That makes sense, yeah.
And I think it's such an important thing to be able to have that relationship.
But honey, I was able to express happiness and love to you and sometimes disapproval, but really you did try to please me, and I never smacked you. I never hit you. I never felt the need to correct you in that regard.
Listen to yourself.
No, I'm just trying to tell you the way I raised you.
I know how you raised me, but what you're saying,
because you wanted to be obedient. You wanted to please me.
Mom, you're reaffirming what I'm saying. I'm saying because you didn't feel like it was appropriate to express all of your emotions, your response to that is, but I showed you all the happy emotions, and I'm saying that's great. I appreciate your actions and your intentions. I think the issue that perhaps one of the main issues that kind of bound me,
I didn't show
is
anger.
Learning subconsciously that it's not okay to express the other ones.
Right.
And your active response to that, and I'm so excited for you to listen to this, is, but I showed you all the good emotions. And I'm saying, I know that was the issue. And then your response is, but I showed you all the good emotions. And so it's...
Because you had so much of the other from when your father was using substance and alcohol. So I felt like, well, no, wait a minute here. One of us has to be strong. One of us has to be...
I get it. But I think that I learned...
That's why I became like that.
But I think that I learned that through you. And I think that this is... And I'm not pointing a finger at you. I'm just talking to you as my friend and my mother, but also my friend. That just how interesting that is. That's that happens, and that that's.
Well, Austin has discovered this recently too, and he's talked to some professionals about it too. That he said my mother was strong. She was trying to cover up for what was going on and trying to keep us happy and make our world good.
But it's okay to be weak. It's okay to be fragile. It's okay to be vulnerable.
Oh, I would go into my closet at night and cry. I mean, I'm not telling you that I was always Superwoman, but it was pretty hard.
How often would you do that?
Oh my, almost every night.
You'd go into the closet and cry?
Well, I would go alone somewhere. It was hard, but I thought I must be strong for my children, and that's why I ended up doing the things that I did. I ended up, taking the bull by the horns, supporting the family, keeping the roof over your head, keeping the food on the table.
How long what duration of time was that a regular occurrence that you'd go into the closet and cry?
I lived through some... Well, you were here. They were such dark times. Every day. I think I probably prayed nonstop, almost from morning until night. And even while I was sleeping, I'd wake up and keep praying. Praying for our safety, praying for our provision, praying for everything, because during those times when your father went from being a really highly successful stockbroker and president of the Conservancy and really, really respected person in the church and everything, to being a complete, total gangster, drug addict that was breaking the law and just had no regard for what effect it was having on his family. Because to me, if a person is an addict, it's such a selfish act.
Have you forgiven him?
Totally and completely forgave him. We were very wonderful friends for many, many years.
Have you forgiven him now?
Now?
Yeah. Have you like completely released it?
Oh, yeah. I'm very proud of the man he's become now. I'm just trying to tell you.
I know.
You're asking me why I was that way, why I covered up, part of it was the way we were raised. You know that. I already expressed that to you. But the other part of it was that I didn't want my children to suffer what I was suffering because of my love for you.
Yeah. Do you have any regrets in your life?
Oh my gosh, yes.
What?
Oh, I say that all the time. Oh, so many things. It's just like, well, I don't really care to get into every little detail of my regrets, but...
What do you regret?
What do I regret?
Yeah.
The list goes on and on.
Like what?
Just a lot of stuff. I don't really feel the need to discuss every regret, honey.
Do you think the regrets are...
They're personal, like,
Like what?
Well, honey, I just said I really didn't care to discuss them.
Okay, you don't need to. At some point, I'd love to hear about them, though.
Sure.
That doesn't need me now.
I'm not a coward, I know
you're not. I think you're very strong.
I mean, some of them are just silly things.
Like what?
Like, I wish I would have never gotten a tonsillectomy when I was in my 20s.
I understand that.
I felt like the doctor talked me into it. I feel like the tonsils probably would have been better for my immune system.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. I regret trusting certain people when in reality they were, just lying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Have you forgiven them?
Sure. I mean, forgiving isn't hard for me.
Have you forgiven
It's myself that I said I regret that I trusted somebody. I'm not blaming them.
Have you forgiven yourself?
That might be more challenging.
Why?
Well, I told you I do have regrets, so...
Why is it more challenging to forgive yourself than to forgive others?
Because you can't undo what's done.
So why would you...
You can try to start over and make it better, and...
If you can't undo it, what's the value in holding on to it? There's got to be some value if you're holding on to it.
I don't hold on to it. You're asking me if I have regrets. It's not like I think about them every day, but I absolutely do have regrets.
I mean the not forgiving yourself part.
Maybe I do think about my regrets pretty often.
What's the value in not forgiving yourself? Like what? How does that? There's got to be some reason to maintain that, or you wouldn't have it.
Because I feel like I know better. It's like dumb.
What do you
think know better than
What
that.
do you think it would take to forgive yourself?
Well, you're helping me just by being accepting.
Yeah. Accept you 1,000,000%. I think I accept you more than you know. I mean, maybe you're starting to know it.
Oh, there's so much light in your eyes.
It's because I'm crying out the dark, Mom.
Oh. Well, you have a good father, even though he went through a very dark time.
He's great.
You have a very good father.
He's killing it. He's ready to die. I think it's awesome. Not that he wants to die, but I told you before, he's like in a place where he's not attached to anything. He's like a really, in a lot of ways, like a pretty transcendent guy. Even though I don't agree with, the dogmatic religious beliefs, I think he's pretty transcendent fella.
But I think that his religious beliefs are what gave him the strength, and I feel that they're real, and I feel that that's what makes him a beautiful person.
I agree that they are a major lattice or crutch or support that did give him strength, and I'm really grateful for them for that, and I don't have any kind of, perturbance or...
But I feel that it's in him. I don't feel it's a crutch. I feel it's actually who he is now.
I agree.
Because he was that person when I married him.
Yeah, I agree. Is there anything else that you want to say?
Well, sure.
What else?
We could take a break.
We've been talking for over an hour.
Okay. Yeah, I've had a few experiences that make me believe certain things in life, and I've had a couple encounters with what I believe are angels from heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And those encounters were just incredible. I'll never forget them. So, yeah.
I'm so glad that you have had those experiences in your life.
I had an angel wing surround me right before I could have really been hurt when your dad was high, and I had a dream about it, and I prayed and asked the Lord to protect me. I said, if something's going to happen, please protect me. And I was protected, but the way I was protected was totally unexpected, and it was wonderful. But this beautiful, beautiful, purest white wing just came around me, and it was huge, and it covered me from the top of my head all the way down to my feet. And it just totally enveloped me. Another time when I was singing, I saw a magnificent angel off to my right, standing, and he was really tall, and he was dressed in the most beautiful golden robes. And
was it Morgan Freeman?
No, he actually had blondish hair. You're funny.
Thanks.
You're not taking me seriously.
I am.
No, you're not.
One night, I'm into all sorts of weird shit. I'm into alien abductions, probes, spirits, name it. I think there's all sorts of amazing.
Well, there's the dark side too. There's the dark side too. But one more thing. And so one time, one of the most beautiful things that ever happened to me is one night I was singing the Song of Solomon. I am the rose of Sharon, the lily of the valley, like a lily. You know that scripture, honey?
Uh-huh.
Am I losing you here?
No.
And anyway, as my accompanist Brian was playing the piano, he told me that he heard a beautiful soprano voice joining in with me as I was singing the soprano part of the song.
Cool.
And he said that it was so beautiful. He thought at first it was my voice, but he said it was even clearer yet than any human voice. And he said that the voice was actually harmonizing with you as you were singing. Wow. Now, I didn't hear it, but he heard it. And he was just a very gifted, anointed musician. And I was just so touched by that. Beautiful experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I could feel it. I could feel the presence and the light, but I didn't actually hear what he was hearing. Mm-hmm. The music. But I heard the wings, the flutter, before they surrounded me, the times in my life when, right before I was in danger, I felt the protection come upon me. Now, that kind of thing is just, you just don't forget that, ever.
Well, I think that at some point, perhaps in this lifetime or maybe after this lifetime, we'll probably, you are probably different than who your son thinks you are, and I'm probably different than who my mom thinks I am. And I think that I
think you're beautiful.
well, but I'm kind of feel like in the sense of like, perhaps you or some form of like, I thought you're just my mom, but perhaps you're some form of like saint or some form of like something that's like much more than that. And you, I don't think you need to be like attached to this body. Like, I think this body's small potatoes. I think this is fine. This is fine. It's just like school.
I disagree with you. I think the body's very important.
I know, Mom.
It's body, mind,
I'm not
and
saying
soul.
no. The attachment to the body is the issue, and the fear of losing the body, and the fear of where's my body going to be buried? It needs to be above ground. It needs to have essential oils and all this stuff. Like that's the part that I think. Like, I think the body is. I think once you and I and anyone transitions out of this body, I think you'll forget about this body really quick, and it'll actually be a relief. That's
scriptural. I mean, that is what people that's true. That is true. However, I just don't believe that the body should be desecrated. I think in the ancient times they literally carried the bones of their loved ones into the promised land.
There's lots of ancient times, Mom. There's different burial ceremonies all around the world. There's chopping bodies up and taking on top of mountains and allowing birds to eat them. There's burning
but to
bodies.
Them,
there's no one ancient times.
But to them that is honoring.
To them. Yeah.
But to me, I have certain convictions about it. You ask me.
No, I know.
You asked me about it tonight over dinner. It kind of took me off guard. I thought, okay, I might as well tell him what my wishes are.
I think that's great. I think that to me, which, we're all in our own illusion. So for, if that's true to you, then it is true.
I thought about it more when I was young, though. I thought about death more when I was in my early 20s. That's when I thought about it the most. Like, I thought, now, when I grow old, this is what I want. In fact, I used to go to the cemetery and just sit there very quietly and just really, really just felt peaceful.
Are you okay with me getting cremated?
No.
What if I want to get cremated? And then I want to get blown out of a cannon?
I hate it.
Don't put me in some bullshit casket. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
No,
I'm a
green. I believe in green burials. So.
Oh, you can put me in a tree. You could chop up my body parts, bury it around a tree, and fertilize it. Throw me into like a compost heap.
I'm not chopping you up.
I mean, if you
go before.
I want to be composted. Don't put me in anything that doesn't compost well. You don't need to put me in some, burial cylinder thing.
I totally, completely hate that idea of putting people in something that doesn't compost. Yeah,
that makes sense.
And I hate embalming. I hate it.
Burn me up. Shoot me out of a cannon.
No.
Well, sprinkle me over some mountains. Actually, is my real wish.
I don't want to cremate any of my loved ones.
I mean,
I don't like the idea of that. I like the idea of just naturally letting the body.
Just don't embalm. Just don't put any juices in me.
No, I never would.
I'm fine. You can just have my body. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's no problem.
To me, that's just horrible.
I mean, I think it's kind of a long way to go, but that's fine. You can put my body in something. Just don't put any chemicals in it. I didn't like chemicals while I was in my body. I don't like chemicals when I'm out of my body.
See, you take after me.
I do take after you. We got to take the round.
All right.
Thank you so much for recording this conversation, Mom. I appreciate it. I very much love you. I think this is the closest that I've been to you in my entire life, and the best that I've known you, and I look forward to continuing to cultivate a relationship with you.
Oh, with all my heart. I love you, and with all my heart, I look forward to that.
All right. Pressing off record now.
Okay.
I hope you guys got some value from that radically vulnerable conversation between my mom and I. If you did, leave a review on iTunes. It'd be great. You could share it with somebody else who perhaps has parents. Maybe we want them to have some depth in their conversation. So explore some bits between father, son, mother, daughter, mother, son, whatever. I hope it was helpful. If you guys are interested in enhancing your sleep quality / the health and tonicity of your muscles, I recommend utilizing magnesium. Magnesium has been a supplement that I've utilized for years, forever. It's the only supplement that I will purchase. I know you've heard me say that before. I might purchase creatine as well as another one that I think it depends if I'm working out a lot. But magnesium is hands down one of the most important supplements that I will buy with my own money. So I collaborated with Bio-Optimizers because they are rad, and they make I think some of the best magnesium on the market. I don't like using the term best because it's kind of a silly word, but it's the highest of the highest quality that I've come across, and it incorporates all 7 forms of magnesium. So oftentimes when you're taking a magnesium supplement, you're just getting 1 or 2 or a few. There's more forms than that. And so Bio-Optimizers did a fabulous job with their Mag Breakthrough by breaking through the standard magnesium supplement and giving you everything that you need. And you can get yourself a discount by going to magbreakthrough.com/align podcast. That's magbreakthrough.com/align podcast. And on there, you will find yourself a sweet ass discount on the Mag Breakthrough. If you don't love it, you can get your money back. No big deal. magbreakthrough.com/align podcast. Appreciate you guys supporting. Appreciate you telling your friends. Appreciate you grabbing the Align Method book, the 6-week Align Method online program. People have been digging that. All that can be found at alignpodcast.com. I'm going to play us out with a song from my mom. She is a beautiful musician, and was kind enough to offer up some of her music for us to listen to. So we got some music from a mama for you. Here we go. Enjoy. Bow.
Full of grace